Hello everyone. So today we are going to cover the roll-up summary, classic roll-up summary trigger, where the scenario is this. So let's say you have account and you have opportunities. Opportunity is child of account, and on account, we are going to create a field called number of child opportunities, and then we are going to populate the value by counting all the opportunities associated with an account, and then we are going to put the value there. So every time an opportunity is created or updated or deleted, we have to go to the account, we have to find all the opportunities associated with that account, and then we need to put the number there. So this is a classic scenario, and we are going to write a trigger for this. This trigger is mostly asked trigger, and this has been, this scenario from last couple of years when I was giving interviews around 2016-17 also. Then also I got this interview question and trigger to write on this scenario. So it is equally important even today as well, and because it gives you a lot of opportunities to improve. It gives you to showcase your skills in terms of how you use map or how you use aggregate query, and how effectively you can write trigger. Okay, so see, the aim is not to write a trigger in least amount of time or using the minimum line. That's not the aim. The aim is that we should be able to write an efficient trigger. Okay, so we are going to do this. I have already created the field on account. So if I show you that field, I've already created the field and account, and what we are going to do, we are going to write a trigger. Anyone has any doubt about this scenario? So number of child opportunity is a number field, okay? And the scenario is that we have to write a trigger. So let me first write down the scenario. I'm going to name it roll up summary trigger, and this will be on opportunity. Because I'm telling you that every time an opportunity is getting created or updated or deleted, so the trigger will be on opportunity, okay? Write a trigger on. Okay, now we have to update the account. Okay, so we have to update the related object. So it cannot be the before trigger. It can only be the after trigger because we have to do the operation in the related object. Okay. So for now, just assume that we have to do the after insert. So every time we create a new opportunity, we need to go to the account associated with it, and we need to count all the child opportunities of that particular account, and then need to put the number in the account. Very simple. Don't think about the update and delete scenario for now. We will cover that later in this session only. But for now, to begin with, to give you more clarity, just think about insert, because the logic is going to be the same for the insert as well as update and delete. So we will first focus on the logic, and then we will talk about the update and delete as well. Okay, so if a layman writes this who doesn't know anything about the bulkification and who just want to write the code, no matter if it is bulkified or no matter if it is optimal or not, so he will write it like this. If there is no governor limits with the trigger and we can write whatever the way we want to write, then we can write something like this. For trigger.new, okay. And then what we need to find is the account associated with this opportunity. So what I'm going to do, I will write account A is equals to select ID, my name. We need to, query the field as well. Okay. From account where ID is equals to dot account ID. That's how we can find the account. Okay, now what we need to find is that we need to find all the associated opportunities with this account. Okay, so we could have multiple opportunities. So I'm going to create the list of opportunities. All associated OPPT is going to be equal to select ID name from where ID, where account ID to A dot ID. Okay, and then we already have account. So A dot number of child opportunities is going to be equal to all associated opportunities dot size. So dot size will tell you that how many records were there in this list, and we just needed the number of records. So that's how we're gonna do that. And then this is after trigger. So we have to update the A as well. That's how a layman who doesn't know about bulkification, or if in case there is no limitations in terms of governor limits and all, that's how we can write a very basic trigger, and this will work for the single record, and this will not create any issue. We'll be able to run it for the single record. So if I just create a new opportunity, it will work for it. But there are so many problems in it. So let's discuss the problems. Okay. First, there is a SOQL query inside the loop. Okay. There is another SOQL query inside the loop. Okay. Then there is a DML inside the loop. And there is no null check. Okay. There is no, a check if it is just for insert and all. So this is going to be fine for one record, for few records, but this will fail for multiple records. So if I insert 100 opportunities from the data loader, this will fail because in first it will have a SOQL query of to find the account, then it will have a SOQL query to find the associated opportunities. So it will fail for even 50 records also, because we will hit the limit of 100 SOQL queries. So now we have to optimize it. How we are going to optimize it? We are going to first we need to make sure that this loop is out, this SOQL query is outside of this trigger. Okay, just a second, I'm going to comment this, and I'm going to copy this. All right, this is where we are right now. So why we needed this why we needed to query this inside the for loop is because we needed to find the association between the current opportunity, and that's how we were able to find the account associated with it. So if I create the set of IDs, okay, and name it that all account IDs, new set of IDs, and inside the loop, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this not add current opportunity dot account ID. So by this way, I'll have all the account IDs inside the account ID set. So we need not to, do the query inside it. But if I go with the same logic and if I write another loop for opportunity, guys, I'm doing it step by step. Okay, I know there will be few people who already know a bulkified version of it. So just bear with me and I'll be able to clarify everyone's doubt also. Okay, so now we already have all the account IDs. Okay, so what we need to do now, so first see, we have to find all the accounts as well. Before going inside the loop, we need to find all the accounts as well. So we've got the account ID. Let's find all the accounts. List of account ID. Because see here we only don't need the account ID, but also we need the other fields of account like number of child opportunities and all. So let's query this. Okay, we have got all the accounts now. What we need to do now is our loop on account, because we need to update account, we need not to update the opportunity. So let's have a loop on account rather than opportunity and try to see if there is any better way of doing it. So now we have got the account, but we still don't know what are the related opportunities of this account. Okay, so one option is to do the query like this. Okay, and then update it like this. So we were able to just remove one circle query inside the loop, but still we have one circle query. Okay, so this is a slightly better approach than the first approach, but this still is a bad approach. Okay, so we have to avoid this query as well. And how we can avoid this query? If we create a map of account ID versus list of opportunities, then only we will be able to remove this map. Because what we need is that for every account, what is the list of associated opportunities? Okay, if we get that in a map, then we will be able to avoid this inner map as well. Okay, so now our aim is to avoid this inner map. Okay, let me just write down this approach still has one circle inside loop, which we need to remove by the help of maps. And then maps comes in picture. Okay, so now I will do it with the help of map. First, let me copy the previous part and remove the unnecessary things. Okay. So we need to create a map of account ID and list of opportunity, and we will name it account to opportunity map. Okay. Now, how we gonna put value inside it? If we just go with the account, it will be, really difficult to get the list of it. Okay. The simpler way to create this map is to have the list of opportunities first, and I'll write it down, then I'll explain it to you. All select ID, account ID from opportunity where account ID in. By this way, I'll be able to fetch all the opportunities first, and then we will loop through these opportunities, and we will check if this map dot contains key opportunity dot count ID. If it already contains, then what I'm going to do dot get dot add. Okay, you get a couple of syntax error, but that is fine. And I'm going to explain it. Don't worry, guys. Not put comma new list of okay. So what we did here is that first we created a map where key is the account ID and value is the list of opportunity. And then we got all the opportunities on which we can loop through. Just give me a second, guys. So what we did here is that we got all the opportunities, then we loop through opportunity, and here we are checking if this map already contains this particular account, then go to that account, and then on the list of that account, add this opportunity. And if this map does not contain this account, then put this account as well as this opportunity. So there can be account which has multiple opportunities. Let's say an account A has 5 opportunities. Okay, so all those 5 opportunities will be here in this particular list. And then when we loop through it, let's say we came to the first opportunity and see that if this map contains anything, this map does not contain anything. So what we will put the account ID, associated account ID, and the whole opportunity in the list. But when we second time iterate through the same through the opportunity of the same object, it will check if this map already contains the account ID. But this time account ID will be available because we have already put one opportunities related to that account. Okay, so this time it will not go here, it will come here and will find the particular account We'll find the particular account, and then we'll go to the list of that particular account's opportunities, and then this will just add this opportunity rather than creating a new list. So first time it will create a new list, second time or any other time it will just add it. Okay, and this will be repeated for all opportunities and account ID associated. So at the end we will get a map where on the key side we will have the account ID, and on the value side we have the list of opportunities. Anyone has any doubt in this? All right, we will move ahead now. Now what we're going to do, okay, we are going to see, we already have all the accounts. Okay, here we need to update the accounts. We are not going to update the opportunity, so there is no need to go to opportunities. What we're going to do, we will loop through this account. Okay, so for and then what we are going to do is equals to, we need to get this value from the map current. So if we provided the account ID from this map, if we provided the account ID, in return it will give us the list of opportunities. So if we just provide the account ID, how we will provide the account ID? Dot ID, as simple as it is. In return we will get the list of the opportunities. What we need to do, we need to just check the size of it. Okay, and then we will be able to update it. So once we have, we also need to create another list of account. Call it to be updated. New list. This step is we are doing to avoid the DML inside the loop. Okay, we could have done this step earlier as well, but this was not a major step. We need not to create anything for this, so I thought that I'll do it at the end. To be updated dot add current account, and then outside we will go outside this loop and we will update the to be updated. All right, so this is how we have avoided the DML. I have seen many people, using the same list. So we have this account list and they used to put this in the same account list, and then they used to update this account. Don't do that, guys. This is the list which we have iterating. Don't try to iterate the same list on which you have iterated and then you have updated. Don't try to do that, because this list may contain multiple accounts, but this list will not be always equals to this list. So always try to create a new list on which you need to update it. Also, there are a couple of null checks we have to do in the beginning. So see, this is the map approach. Okay, and this is a kind of bulkified approach, but still there are a lot of improvements we need to do. So every time, let's say you create a list, whenever you iterate through list, you first check that if this list contains any value or not. Okay, so before iterating over this list, we need to check if it has values or not. Similarly, if you are using a particular value, like we did get current account, we first need to check if this map contains this account ID or not. So those things are you need to do here. We first need to check like this: if account to ID map dot contains key. If it contains current account, if it contains the ID of the account which you are iterating right now, then only you will go inside and do this, right? Otherwise, you will not do this. because that does not make sense. You will get a lot of null pointer exception in case you try to do something which is already null. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do that. Okay, here also we first need to check if dot size is greater than 0. Okay, so see, we need to make sure that we are improving our code and we are removing any possibility of code breakage. This is one approach which is going to work, but is still another approach we can use to do this. Okay, and many times you will see people and expect interviewers to do this with that approach, and that approach is nothing but aggregate query approach. Okay, so I will first write it down that this is a bulkified and it will work fine. This still has some area of improvements, but it should be fine. Okay, see, Abhi, when you see that I already know the trigger scenario, but I still took around 20-25 minutes to write this down. So in an interview, hardly get that much amount of time. So you need to do that. So sometimes you need to figure out the logic really quickly and then try to make sure. So it is very important that you keep on talking to interviewers and tell him that this is what you plan. So currently I have not put any error catching, but if I have to write this trigger in the exact interview, I'll first, get the logic done, and then I'll keep on communicating with him that this is what I'm trying to do. So I'll also put a null check here. I'll also put a null check here. I'll also put a null check here. And I'll also put a try catch block here. And then I also plan to do it for, this is just only for the insert. So I'll also update it. And then if I get some more time, then I can keep on adding the things. I told him that I'll be doing that. Okay, so first make sure that your logic is working fine, and then you need to make sure that whatever you were saying throughout the process, you do those things if he gives you time to do that. Most of the time, if you write something like this, the interviewer will say, okay, let's move on to a couple of more topics, because he has to check you on other topics as well, not only just the triggers. There are so many other things as well. So what we are going to do, we will first do the other approach which I was talking to you about, and then we will do this with the help of flow as well. Okay, then I'll show you how easy it is to do it with the help of flow. All right. There is another simpler approach. I will not say it's simpler. It looks very simple, but this is the simpler approach. The other one is more complicated approach. You need to know about the aggregate queries and all. So that is also something which more complexity, but it depends on you, on which you are comfortable. With the help of so we are going to do that approach now. Okay. Let me copy the existing code. And see, more or less every trigger will follow the same kind of structure, no matter how complex or how easy the trigger is, it follows the same structure. Okay, I'm going to remove a couple of things which I don't need. Till here. And let me see. So for this also, you need to create a map. This map will not be required. We have to get all the opportunities and accounts. We have to create a map where on the key side, we will have the account ID, and on the value side, we need to put the number of child opportunities. So on account ID will be, let's say, string, and and the number of opportunities, let's say, is going to be the decimal, and I'm going to name it account to child count map. Okay, new map is string comma decimal. Okay, now what we are going to do, we have to do an aggregate query. Okay, and we have to do an aggregate query from the opportunities. Okay, because okay, so how we do the aggregate query? Are you guys comfortable with the aggregate queries, or I need to explain it? Aggregate results. See, you need not to remember the every syntax of it, but you need to be comfortable with it so that if in case you need to write this, you will be able to write this in your interviews. Okay. So I'll show you how you write it. I'm going to name it total opportunities, and then I'll explain it to you. Okay. So here you can write select count of ID, and we're gonna name it total opportunity, comma, account ID from opportunity where account ID in all the opportunity related set group by account ID. So what this query going to return us is this. It will give us that how many, how many opportunities are associated with how many, which contact, which account ID. So if we are grouping it by the account ID, which means in the return, we will get that, okay, this account ID contains 5 opportunities. This account ID contains 10 opportunities. Okay. If I run this query in the anonymous block, I think I'll be able to show you what it does. We need not to have this parameter. Okay. And let me write a debug. So it will tell you that we have total on the basis of account ID. Let's say this is the account ID. This account has total 5 opportunities. This, I mean, there is one blank account where we have total 6 opportunities. So we total 6 opportunities we have where there is no account. We have this account ID which has a total 1 opportunities. We have this account which has total. So it basically gives you a total number of opportunities. Okay, and that's what we need in this particular requirement, right? So this will help us. Okay, now what we need to do, we have to loop through the, now we have to put the values in it. Okay, values in this map. So for that, we need to loop through this. Okay, because this will give us the multiple results and we have to loop through this and put the values there. Okay. I don't think we are going to need this line. So I'm going to remove it. We will still be needing this line when we actually update the account. So that is why I have kept it. But now let's go and write a loop. How do we write a loop on the aggregate result is this. So the data type is aggregate results. Okay, and then you can name it anything. And what it has total opportunities. So now what I need to do, I need to put the value in this map. Okay, but in order to put the value, first I need to get the value. So first I will get the value. So let me get it like a string account ACC ID is equals to AR dot get and here you need to tell the account ID. And you also need to typecast it. So it is a string, so I'm going to typecast it to a string. Or let me typecast this to the ID because it is an ID. Let me make it an ID field. The string will also work, guys. No problem with the string, but if we are doing everything so fundamentally right, then why to use a string? Now, second is decimal, and we can name it total opportunity, and this is going to be decimal. So I'm going to typecast it to decimal, then ar dot get. That's how you get the values from the aggregate result, and then you can put it on the map. So this is the map dot put. On the key side, what we are going to have? On the key side, we are going to have account ID. So we are going to put the account ID, okay? And on the value side, what we are going to have? Total number of opportunities. So we are going to do that. See, whatever we did here in line 73, 74, we can directly do in line 75 as well. But sometimes we also need to think about the readability of our code. Okay, if you directly do it here and somebody watches it, it will be a bit difficult for him to understand it. But if somebody watches it like this, it will be a better readable code. So sometimes we have to choose between number of lines of code versus how we can improve the readability of the code. And whenever you have to write a code in an interview, don't try to make it complex, try to make it smooth so that anybody can understand that, because that's what we need to check in an interview, is that how readable the code is. So don't try to make it very complicated, or don't try to put everything in a single line. Instead, try to improve the readability of the code so that you can talk about your code with the interviewer, is that this is what I'm trying to do in this line. This is what I'm trying to do in this line. Okay. Don't unnecessarily increase the number of lines, but whenever you need to choose between the readability and making everything do in a single line, try to increase the readability of your code. Okay. And you can also have a discussion between your interviewer, is that why you did that. Okay, so you are doing this to improve the readability. Just inform in that you can also do this in a single line here in the 75, but for the sake of improving the readability, you are doing this. Okay, so that is fine. Now we have got the map where we have account ID, and in return we will get the number of opportunities associated with that account ID. So our job is already very easy now. We'll again loop through the accounts. Okay. Trigger dot, sorry, not trigger dot, no, all accounts. And we will check if our map, contains key a.id, then we will go inside and we will a dot number of child opportunities is equals to, we will again get the value from the map dot get, and we will pass the account ID. So this will return us the unnumber. Okay, so we need not to be worried about what it is giving us, because we need not to use size now, because this is already giving us number. I'll create a list of accounts which we are going to update to be updated. It's to new list. Account, and I'm going to add this A to this list, and we will go outside of this loop and update the to be updated. That's how we are going to do this. Okay. So this is another approach. You can prefer this as well. This is a more advanced approach. Okay. This requires you not to, iterate over opportunities and then, check if and else. Instead, you can simply create a map and put the values directly. Okay, because there is no list, you need not to iterate over it. You just need to put simply in a single line. So this is bit easier for few people, and this is bit complex for few people who do not understand the aggregate query. So it depends on uh, person to person. Okay. Okay, line number 71, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to use the aggregate query on the opportunity object to get the total number of opportunities associated with that particular account. So this will give us the total number of opportunities. I explained this to you in the anonymous block. This will give you the number, whereas this will give you the account ID associated with the opportunity. Whichever field you choose to group by, it will group by that. If you group by the any other field, then it will group it by that only. Okay, and then this will give you the aggregate result. Okay, and then we will use that aggregate result. Now the final piece of puzzle is this, that this is only working for the insert. What about the update and what about the delete? Okay, so I can write after update as well, and after, whenever we have to, I mean, see, let's talk about the updates case. So when will we update this and we need to run this trigger? So let's say we have an opportunity, okay, and we have changed the account of it. So if we change the account of that particular opportunity, then only we need to run this. Let's say we are updating, let's say, stage of opportunity. Then do we need to run this? Will it change anything? It will not change anything. For the update case, we should only need to run this trigger when we change the account of it. So that now new account will have an extra opportunity and the previous account will have a one opportunity removed from the existing opportunity. So in the update case, we will only run through this trigger when we actually change the account of that particular opportunity. Otherwise, there is no need to run this trigger again for the update case as well. That would be just the wastage of the resources we have. So we will check if trigger dot is insert, then we will do this. We will copy this. We will check if trigger dot is update. Okay. If trigger is update, then we will only go through this if account ID is getting changed. Okay. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to, and here I'm going to check if we are actually changing the account ID. So what I'm going to check, if trigger dot old map dot get current opportunity dot account ID. So current opportunities account ID is not equal to, I mean, the previous account ID of that particular opportunity is not matching with the current opportunity dot account ID. Okay. And this is one case. And the other case is that the current opportunity should not be blank. I mean, the owner of the account of current opportunity should not be blank. So we also need to check current opportunity dot account ID should not be equals to null as well. All right, they were wrong ID. Let me check. Here we need to write is update first. line 73, what it is saying, we are closing this and all right. So what we are trying to check is that in the case of update, we will only put the account ID in this set when the either current opportunity, the opportunity which you have updated should have an account. It should not be null. And if the older account associated with that particular opportunity was something else, and the currently we have changed it to something else, because this is the only case when we have to make sure that this trigger runs for the update case. Let's say we are only changing the stage of opportunity, then there is no need to run this trigger because that will not change anything. It will just do the duplicate calculation. But if we change the account of the opportunity, then it will have two references. First reference is that now it will be associated. Now this opportunity will be associated with another account. So we need to go to that other account and add one value there, and it will be removed from the previous account. So we need to go to previous account and remove one value from there as well. So that is why in case of update, we have to have this if statement. Okay. I will give you the code and you all can go through it and study that and can try to do it in your own org. But that is the main theme of it. Okay. Trigger dot is delete. Now, if we are deleting it, then what will be the case? So in case of delete, we need to get the value from the trigger dot old opportunity deleted opportunity, and we are going to get the value from trigger dot old, and then again we are going to put this value in all account IDs dot add, because now we have deleted this particular opportunity. So we need to find the account of this deleted opportunity so that we can go to that account and can remove this opportunity from the list of all opportunities. All right. So let's say if an opportunity is deleted and the associated account had 5 opportunities, so we will put this account ID so that we will go to that account and we'll find now how many opportunities are remaining with this account. Then it will be 4. With this query you will get 4 in return, so we will put the 4 instead of 5. So that's how we are going to do for the deleted case. See, if you are able to sort out the logic for the one case, like for the insert case, update and delete case becomes really easy. But if you think about the deletion as well as updation as well as insertion in the beginning of your code, then this will basically confuse your mind. So that is why I always prefer to go with one approach and then add the logic based on update and delete later on. So that's what I want you guys also to try, because in the beginning, if you clutter your mind with all the things related to update, insert, delete, after insert, after update, so your mind will become clutter and you will not have a clarity about how you're going to do that. So that's how we are going to do it. Okay, this is the aggregate query
Sir,
result.
one question. So
Yes, please.
you have put the validation if the account ID is null or not. So don't we like need to put it on across the like is
Yes, we
insert,
need
is
to we
update?
need to put it everywhere. We need to put it everywhere, even in the insert as well. We need to put it. So yes, this is a valid point. We need to put it everywhere. Wherever we are doing it, we need to check it, because we can have opportunity without account. So yes, this is going to be valid for every case. Okay. So let me put it. Okay. As I said, this also has a lot of scope of improvement. I am sure you guys will improve that. Okay. So we have to put that. And in the delete as well, we need to put that. Okay. What major mistakes I have seen in these triggers is that the people do not think about the overall, upset. See, if they are iterating in one opportunity, they only think about that one opportunity and try to add that opportunity in the associated account. Okay, but that is a wrong approach, because in case we update it, let's say we change the account, okay, we need not to only think about that account, but also the account from which it has been removed. Okay, and we also need to make sure that we calculate all the child opportunities. Okay, not only the opportunity on which we are iterating or opportunities which we have inserted, but because that account might have associated with couple of more opportunities as well, and it might be possible that we might be iterating over the same opportunity in the same loop. So always make sure that you bulkify your code. Bulkification is really a very key here. Now you guys need to try these approach in your dev org. And it's not like these are the only approaches. This trigger is so old trigger, and this trigger has so many other approaches as well. So you guys can also explore the other approaches. Just don't confuse yourself. Whichever approach works fine with you, practice it multiple times. Practice it in your dev org. Practice it with the help of paper and pen, and try to write this trigger from the scratch. Okay, you need to understand the every and each and every line of it and the meaning of it and why you are using that line. If you can remove it and use another line, try it with your own logic and something. So this is a trigger which is going to be a fundamental trigger for you. And trust me, almost every trigger follows the same pattern. You have to use aggregate query, you have to use map, you have to bulkify your code, you have to do the null check, you have to do the size check. These all are the ingredients of a good trigger, and this will be repeated in almost every trigger. Okay, my only suggestion is that first focus on the logic. Okay, and then you can go for the bulkification, and then you can go for the improvements on your code. Okay, so try this in your own dev and let me know. Obviously there will be other approaches as well in this trigger, but these are the couple of most common approaches you will find in this trigger. Okay.
अगर इंटरव्यूअर
Yeah.
सेम क्वेश्चन पूछता है तो फिर क्या कौन सा कोड लिखना बेहतर रहेगा?
Aggregate query. This one is more impressive code, because this does everything in a single line of query. Okay, this is better approach. If interviewer is giving you this same trigger to write, always use the aggregate query, because this will do things in less lines of code, plus this is more impressive. Okay.
And what is aggregate query?
Aggregate query basically gives you the counting of you can use the count functions in it. Okay, so it will give you the return of number of opportunities associated with that particular account in a single line. Normally what you did is that you used map here, and then you iterate over the list of opportunities, and then you put the value, and then at the end you use the size of it just to get the number of opportunities associated with a particular account. But here it did that thing in a single line. You do need to create a map for this as well, because you have to put the value there, but precisely this list was able to give you the number of opportunities associated with that account in a single line of code. So this is a very impressive approach. If you get in an interview, try this approach, do this approach. Okay, this will help you more. But if from the understanding point of view, this is something really complex for you, or this is something where you want to spend more time to understand the aggregate query, then this approach is also fine. You can use the list, and you can use this map where key is ID, account ID, and we have the value side as the list of opportunities. This also is a very good approach. No, no problem with this approach at all. But this has a slightly edge over the previous approach, because this looks more impressive and you're using the aggregate query. So interviewer will be able to understand that you know about the aggregate query as well. And interviews are all about impressing your interviewer with the latest things you can use. Okay, this is what people used to do a couple of years ago for this, and then uh, interviewers started expecting more from the candidates, so they came up with this approach as well. And the latest thing is that not only you do this with the help of trigger, and you also inform that this can easily be done in the flow without writing all the hustle. So I'm going to show you how we can do this in the flow now. The only problem with the flow is that we have to create two different flow for the deletion case and one for the insert and update case. So that is the only drawback of the flow approach. Okay. I'm going to create a new flow.
Sir, hello.
Yes, please go ahead.
I have a question, Professor Goel. Can we
Mhm.
differentiate between business account and person account? Suppose I will have to query for person account only.
Suppose you have to see, if you put the person account in the equation, then this will become really complex. Person account will become really complex because they are treated as the normal contacts which are owning the business. So person account will definitely make this equation really complex. And in the query, obviously you can if you are querying on the account, you can have this checkbox is person account, but in the opportunities, you will not be able to see that. So here we are doing the query on the opportunities. So it will show the associated account associated with it. Not directly, you will not be able to get. But here, if you query on the accounts, okay, here you can use that particular checkbox field. But my suggestion is that don't put the person account, and if interviewer is trying to put the person account in the equation, then you will obviously tell that it will make the whole things very complicated. It will be very difficult for someone who has not worked on person account to solve the question related to the person account. So person account will make it really complex, but I have noted down your point. I will give you the specifications about it.
Okay, sir.
See, if interviewer is not asking anything about person account, don't try to put it by yourself. Okay.
Okay,
But
sir.
if he is asking, I will tell you what happens in this triggers context. Don't worry. All right. So we are going to write it with the help of flow now. We are going to write a record triggered flow, and we have to do the operation on the related record, like on the account record. So we are going to choose the actions and related record. Our flow will be on the opportunity, and it will be on the whenever a record is created or updated. All right. So we already have the opportunity. Okay, let's find out the account of it. We already have the account as well, but later on we need to update the account. So first, let's find the account. Okay, let me name it get associated account. What we are trying to get? We are trying to get account. How we are trying to get? So ID of the account should be equals to the opportunities account ID. Okay. We already have this record is nothing but the opportunity, and opportunities account ID should be equal to this account ID. So by this way, we will be able to find the account. We only need one account. There will only be one account associated with the opportunity. So it will only give us one account. Now we have to find all the opportunities associated with this particular account. Okay. So again, we will get the associated opportunity. Get all associated opportunities. We are going to get the opportunities. So opportunities, and how we are going to get it? Account ID of the opportunity should be equals to the account we got. Okay. So this will give us all the opportunities we have. Okay. Now what we're going to do, we are first going to create a variable total count. Let me name it total count. The data type will be number. Decimal places will be 0. Okay. Default value is also 0. Done it. What I'm going to do now, we are going to iterate over this loop of opportunities. So I'm going to iterate over the loop. What will be the collection? So collection will be get. Did we create the collection? Just a second. We have to get all the accounts, all the records. Okay. So collection variable will be all the opportunities we got from the get all associated opportunities, the element. Okay. First to last. What we are going to do, we are going to do the assignment. So for every opportunity we iterate, okay, we first check if opportunity does have an account. Okay, account is not blank. We need to check if the opportunity we are going to iterate current item dot account ID is null, false. If the opportunities account is not false, then what we are going to do, we are going to use an assignment, add the opportunity count in the count var. Okay. So what we are going to do, we have a count var, total count. We are going to add a value in it. Okay. So every time it will loop over one opportunity which has an account, you will keep on adding 1, 1, 1. Let's say if it has 5 opportunities, it will iterate over 5 times and it will, the count variable will have the value 5 at the end. Okay. Let me loop through it. But it will only iterate if it has an account. If it does not have, it will not iterate. Okay. So here we need to check account. If only, it will only come to here if account is not blank. And then we will keep on repeating for the all the items available here. Okay, let me do it here. So it will keep on repeating for all the items. At the end, in the number of, in the variable we have count variable, we will have number of opportunities associated with that particular. So in the count variable, we'll have total number of opportunities associated with this particular account. Okay, and at the end, we will update the record. Okay, let me put it here. Update the count on account. Okay, here it will give you multiple options like which record you want to update. So use the opportunity record that triggered the flow. No, I don't want to update that. Use the update record related to the opportunity record that triggered flow. Yes, I want to update the related record. Okay. Or use the IDs and all fields, specify conditions to identify record. Okay. So I don't want to specify, I just want to record related to opportunity is going to be the account. Just a second. Okay, let me find. Let's find here. So from here we will find it. Okay, and then here we can provide the number of child opportunities is going to be equal to the count we have, total count. Okay, let me save it. So here we can remove this. We need not to have this. Delete, delete, delete. So when we were getting the associated opportunities, we were referring the account, so we can directly refer the account ID. That should be fine. So the opportunity on which we are iterating also has the same account ID, so we can refer that. Okay, now we can delete this. So it will directly come here, and then after the end of the loop, we can do this. So I'll explain it to you what I did. Okay, I've created a flow on the opportunity whenever a record is created or updated, and then I chose that actions on related records because we need to update the account. Okay, had we needed to update the opportunity, we would have selected the fast field updates. But we need to update the operation on the related object, then we are going to send the actions and related record. Now, what we did is that we already have the opportunity. So opportunity on which we have updated or whatever we did is already there as a record variable. Okay. Now we found all the associated opportunities with the same account ID. So this opportunity which came inside the loop, okay, this has an account ID. The same account ID we might have on the couple of other opportunities as well. And then in this step, we found all the opportunities whose account ID is equal to the opportunity which came inside the loop here. So we found all the associated opportunities, and then we have a loop over all the opportunities we got. Okay, associated opportunities. We checked if those opportunities has an account ID. This does not make sense because we have only got all the opportunities which are associated with this particular opportunity. So this will not make much sense. We can even remove this step as well. And then what we did, for every opportunity we are iterating, we are adding one value, we are adding one in the total count. Okay, so let's say we iterated over 5 times, we will have 5 in the value. And at the end of the loop, we've added that value in the number of child opportunities on the account object. How did we find the account object? By the help of the record ID. Okay, so opportunity on which iterating, which has an account ID, that account ID, with the help of that account ID, we are able to find this account, and at the end, we added this. So all the hustle we did on the trigger to achieve this can easily be done in the flow with just simple, we have to remove this as well. This can simply be done in the 4 steps in the loop. This is the smallest of the loop possible. And this will be able to do all the hustle we did in the trigger. So that is why flows are really important, and flows plays a very vital role whenever you have to do something easy. The requirement which we did is really easy, but still, if we need to do it in the flow, we have to write the around 40 lines of code in the trigger. And it's not about whether to write it on the trigger or the flow, but what I'm trying to show you here is that how easy it is to write something like this in the flow as well. All right, any question on this, guys?
Sir, how can I handle like a bulk record, because currently I'm seeing like one opportunity to that. Yeah.
In the flow, only one opportunity comes. Flows are bulkified by default. So let's say you have updated 200 opportunities via data loader. Every opportunity will come here one by one. So it is by default bulkified. You need not to take stress or worry about the bulkification. So let's say you have updated 200 opportunities. All those 200 opportunities will come inside this flow one by one, and it will be treated as a single transaction. All 200 opportunities. So the flow in the backend will create 200 instances of or 200 interviews of the same flow, and all those 200 interviews will run in parallel, and all the DMLs and whatever you do will happen as a single unit. Okay, so flows are, that is why when we say flows are bulkified by default, we means that only single records comes inside the flow, but if we do multiple record update via data loader or something, it will create multiple interviews of same flow, so that it can handle 200 opportunities at once. Okay, that is why we say that flows are bulkified by default. It's not like there will be 200 transaction if we update the 200 opportunities via data loader. It will not be counted as 200 transaction. It will still have one transaction which will create 200 interviews of this particular flow. And this is very important. Most of the time informed interviewer will ask you this question, that here there is no bulkification, because we need not to worry about the bulkification. As a candidate, you will answer that we need not to worry about the bulkification. Salesforce has taken care about the bulkification on itself. Like, it will create multiple interviews of the same transaction, so that we can process multiple opportunities at a time in a single transaction. Okay.
Okay, sir. Sir, from UI, suppose someone edit the record, but they don't change the value inside the field column, right, sir? So again, save the record. Then in this case, trigger like below fire or not?
See,
In
Abhi,
case of edit, only edit, not.
yeah, you just click on edit and saved it, right? So it will be
Yeah,
treated as
then change the
update,
value.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
did not, he did not. So currently we have not put any conditions to filter out the records. So it will process all the records, but we have to filter the records as well. Okay, there can be multiple scenarios we can put, is that if it is insert, then do everything. If it is update, then check if account ID is changed or not. If only account ID is changed, then only do this, otherwise don't do anything. So we can put couple of decisions here and check. If it is new, then we have to do it, right? If it is new and account ID is not blank, then we have to do this. But if it is update and account ID has not been changed, then we need not to do this. So for that, you can use the decision element and can add the decisions on that based on if it is new or if it is update. So in flows, if you have to do is new or is update. Okay, in triggers, we had the context variables where we can use the trigger dot is update or trigger dot is insert. In the flow, we do not have any such thing. So what we can do instead, we create the formula fields in trigger. Okay, and simply let's name it is new. Okay, so we can name it is new, and data type will be Boolean. And here we can use the is new as a formula like this. This will be formula for is new. Similarly, we can create a formula for is update as well. Okay, so if it is not new, then you can just use the same formula and apply not in front of it. So you can have a decision. Okay, decision to check new records. Okay, and here you can say record is new. So how do you gonna check if record is new? You're going to use if new is new equals to true. And you can put the decision anywhere, like if record is new, then do this. Okay. And let's say if record is not new, then you will go here and check if account is not changed. If account is changed, then only you will get all the associated opportunities. So if it is not new, then what you're gonna do, check if account is changed or not, or you can also check if account is not blank or not. So that's how you're going to make decisions here, and then you're going to use it here. So it is just like triggers. Trust me, guys, it is just like triggers. If you think about the logic in the from the trigger point of view, it is just like trigger. It's just that to do those logics and to do those conditions and to do those loops, we have different tools available here. So it will take some time to get familiar with them, but it is just like triggers. In fact, it is easier than trigger. Few of the things are very easy to do in flow rather than doing it on triggers. You just need to get comfortable with all these decisions, get records, loops, and assignments, and this will be this will open a new door for all of you to do a lot of automations. So if you get this requirement to check this number of child opportunities or roll up summary trigger, you can write the trigger. Obviously he will ask you to write trigger. He has asked you to write triggers basically to check your trigger capabilities, but do also mention that you can also do this with the flow with couple of steps, so very few easy steps as well. But he has asked you to write triggers, which means he want to see your trigger capabilities. So he's not asking you to write a flow, otherwise he would have asked you to write the flow. But as an informed developer, you should inform him as well that we can do this with the help of flows as well. The only drawback, and you should also know the drawback as well, for the same requirement, you need to create two different flows, because we cannot have the uh, insert, update, and delete in a single record triggered flow. So you also need to inform him the drawbacks of it. This is that we need to create two different flows to do this. So most of the time, I mean, most of not even most of the time, almost every time, he will not ask you to write a flow. He will only ask you to write a trigger, because he wants to check your Salesforce development skill, your coding skill, not your administrator skills. If you are going to give interviews specifically for administrator, now that they are asking a lot of administrator to write flows as well. In my company, whenever we take Salesforce administrator interview, it is mandatory to ask him to write a flow in front of the screen. But for the developer, it will be trigger or LWC code. Okay, but you should know that the capabilities of flow, and you can easily do these things with the help of flow. So in the real world, whenever you deployed in a project, you should have a clear idea about what are the things you can do with the flow versus what are the things you can do with the triggers. Any doubt on this, guys? All right.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Sir, how to plan flow?
All right. How to plan flow is a very good thing. And planning a flow basically requires that what object you are talking about and what are the things you have in that object. Planning a flow basically means that how many flows you're going to have, how you're going to handle the before save flow, how you're going to handle the after save flow. Let's say you have workflow roles which have email alerts. Email alerts can only go on the after save flow. But if you have, let's say, field updates on the same object, those will go in the before save flow. So planning basically requires is that for one object, how many flows I'm going to create, which flow I'm going to take the before scenario, which flow I'm going to take the after scenario, and which flow we are going to take for the delete scenario. So planning basically requires you to do the introspective of your org, which object you're talking about, how many process automations are there, what we are doing in those process automations, and how we can move the logics from those workflow rules or process builders to triggers and flow. Or if you have to do it from the very beginning, then what are the things you can do within flow, what are the things for that you need to use the apex triggers. So that is basically the planning part of the flows, where you decide that how many flows you're going to create, which one is going to be the before save, which one is going to be the after save, which one is going to be the delete, what will be the naming convention of those flow, how you are going to follow the best practices within flow. That is basically comes all in the flow planning. Okay.
Sir, actually, I want to know, you are writing the like this flow. I don't see like before and after save Can you?
Yes. Yeah. So when I created this flow, I told you that there are two options: fast field updates and actions on related record. Whenever we talk about actions on related record, we are talking about the after save flow. Whenever we are talking about the field updates, we are talking about the before save flow. Okay. Got clarity on this now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
All right. I'm going to stop the recording now.